the biggest thing is the thought behind the gift you're giving. So think twice and be smart.
When you're talking about these love languages, love has to be involved. Then them doing all these things would mean something.
I don't want to form friendship and relationship with people for the fun of it, because they look, wow, for me it's beyond looks, beyond the face.
Beyond the face. So above the head, beyond the figure. Face.
Podcasts are an amazing way to get your message out. You get an engaged audience who consume your content anywhere, anytime, and we'd like to help you get started with launching your podcast. Acute helps you conceptualize, produce, package, and distribute. Email us at hello@acute.co.ke. That's acute with a Q. Time to express yourself.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Mental Wealth. This is going to be our episode 9, and we are grateful that you have been with us for now 9 episodes. Today we are going to talk about something interesting, but before then, I'd like to introduce my co-host who's here. Of course,
your co-host by the name BMW, but if you have time you can call me Derek Masabawere. I'm glad we are doing episode 9 of our mental wealth conversation. And today we are joined by an amazing guy. I should allow him to introduce himself.
Hi guys, my name is Alex Oburu, but I'm popularly known as Guanest.
Popularly?
Or Kenji the Guanest worldwide man.
Unajua siku hizi vijana wanasema popularly. And we find that the word popularly represents 10 people.
Mimi natambulika mbali sana.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sawa. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation today. Lilian, umesema leo we are discussing about?
Today we're going to talk about communication in relationships. And specifically we're going to talk about love languages. What are they? What do they mean? And why is understanding your love language important for a relationship? So that's what we are going to talk about. And to start, I would just like to ask you guys, how many relationships that you've been in that you have known and applied love languages, for example? How many relationships did you know your partner's love language, and how did you use it to improve the relationship?
At least I was in 3 relationships. The ones I had approved. There are others which somebody was dating me. So at least I can speak of the 3 I have been part and parcel of. I'd say the first relationship, I was still young. I was still Form 3, trying to experience my teenage period. So I didn't really understand her love language. It was all confusion. At this stage, all you want to satisfy is it's more of your teenage, it's an adolescent stage. So the first one I didn't understand. The second one I think I did. Though I didn't fully implement it.
Like you understood your love language or her love?
Her love language, not mine. Yeah, and in a second relationship, her love language was, the primary love language was gifts. And this is Nairobi. Sometimes gifts is an issue. So
why is it an issue?
Money is an issue. We have to agree. So sometimes.
But see, unaweza tu ni pluck a flower out there and bring it to me,
And I'm happy we're discussing
it's
it today.
the thought.
I'm happy with what you're saying. Giving and receiving gifts is not necessarily tied to a particular type of a gift. Many people confuse that with tying it to a particular type of a gift. So I think maybe either me or my partner at that time had confused receiving gifts to a particular type of gifts, and so it became an issue. I remember at one point I bought her a shoe. It was on 31st of December. I recall it perfectly well. Then the neighbor, a guy neighbor, bought her chocolate. The same day she texted me and she was like, she's so happy the neighbor has bought her a chocolate. She never acknowledged the fact that I bought her a shoe. Nilienda kubai viatu. I took my time. Najua size yake. Literally, I had known all that. I know the color of shoes angependa kuvaa, and all that stuff. She never. That day, in the days that came after, she never acknowledged. So,
like when you gave her the shoe, you sent the shoe.
I took the shoe to her place.
And what did she say?
She didn't say. Hakuna kitu alisema.
She didn't say thank you. She didn't. Like ulimpatia tu kiatu and then.
I told her like, this is for you. Akasema sawa. So this is Nairobi.
Were you sure you guys were dating or you were dating?
That is a story for another day. I think I was
so the
responding to
problem.
Lydia's question.
I think maybe the problem wasn't the gift. The problem was your position in this relationship. Were you in this relationship? Was it a relationship?
Yeah, it was because we were there for 2 years plus. So I don't know why you guys are laughing. But yeah, it's something I've never forgotten. So yeah, we're different. So yeah, my third relationship, I think by the time I was getting into my third relationship, I was already old. And yeah, it didn't take me forever to understand her love language. At least she was quite well with words of affirmation. It really meant a lot to her. And I used that, of course, gifts. I used that, not much, to the level that I could. Yeah. But of course, things never... Sometimes things don't happen permanently. Sometimes we agree to disagree.
True. Now, I want to ask you, how did you know a person's love language? Did they tell you, or did you just assume or figure out based on what they quote-unquote like?
One, I am one person who values conversation. And sometimes when I have conversation with my friends or people who matter to me most, there are questions I try to ask which will help me understand you better. I'd ask you multiple questions, for example. One may relate to intimacy, the other one could be gifts, the other one could be about spending time and what you value most and the things you remember. You've had the best moments with your friends or the people you have loved. And through that, I get responses that are sometimes good, but at the same time, I also try to exercise, because sometimes it can be out of excitement. Somebody tells you they enjoy it when they spend time with others. But when you start, bringing them gifts, you find they are more happy, they feel more loved, they feel more affectionate to you through giftings than, when you are spending time with them. So I think it is a mixture of both asking and trying out, literally. Yeah.
Okay. Alex, tell us.
Hey, what? Okay, so for me, I'm not really like Derek. I'm really outgoing. I make friends faster.
So Derek is not outgoing. He doesn't make friends faster.
Okay, but
where did you find him?
So
I agree. I don't
in
make
relation
friends
to I was talking
Which
in
is
relation
okay.
to women.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And yeah, so I've been in a couple of relationships. I don't really, maybe I lost count. And so
relationships that were mutual agreement that it's a relationship, not dating yourself.
Relationships, others. I got entertained with some women. But to answer your question, I guess I spent a lot of time growing up with older guys. So they used to say, by the way, wejua madem wanapendanga hivi. So quote unquote, they said, just know that shorties love A, B, and C. Maybe they love gifts. They love when you tell them they are pretty. So spending time with older men got me a clear picture of maybe some of the things that ladies would prefer. Mm-hmm. And I had a upper hand maybe trying to court a girl than other guys because I had some Wakenya. Yeah, for lack of a better word. Mm-hmm. So I didn't really understand or know that these were the love languages. I just knew you have to maybe buy her chocolate, get her ice cream, take her out for window shopping, not shopping, you know. Derek.
Whoa.
Yeah, some of us have
window
done
shopping.
not just window shopping.
Yeah,
you know.
so for us,
Some of us will actually like to go out to a real shopping. Still
But
window
it's fun. It's fun. But they're going out with your girl for
To
shopping.
window
is-
shopping.
Even window shopping is really fun. Like I remember we used
What
to
is
go.
the fun in that?
Like I remember, like we'll go to
and now we know her love language.
you know a
She wants
boutique.
gifts.
Not really a boutique. We go to. At least I'm getting to learn. Yeah. So we go where they are selling good dresses. And get people hizo dress and then
Then you take
we
pictures.
take pictures.
No.
and then,
Mm-mm. That is humiliating. Oh, nipime dress inanipendeza and then niwache.
yeah.
Why? Why would
If
I do that?
No, if I don't have money, I don't. If you don't have money, you don't. I mean,
Yes, and even me on my kama niko peke yangu, I can't even do that. Kama najua sina pesa, I don't even look at them.
or
I just
sometimes on good days, try out like 20 outfits and then pick one. It was
go. Okay,
fun.
that's better
It
than
was fun.
saying total window shopping.
Total window. It happens once in a while. I mean, if we are trying dresses and they don't really match our taste,
You know,
do we have to buy them?
Okay,
I
so-
guess the problem is most of the guys have gotten more information using memes. So memes are generally created with one point of angle, or rather one scenario, and then they'll be like, by the way, a guy is supposed to do this, then all the stories move with that pace. And for instance, maybe my chick loves pizza and your chick loves uji. So ukipeleka manzi yako place ya pizza, atakuwa like, dude, what's wrong? So just try and understand the person kwanza. What do they love? And after there utajua, by the way, maybe window shopping will be much greater than actual shopping.
The question is going back to the sender.
The question is, for me, I don't think I've been in any relationship where I've applied love languages, to be honest. Because I think by the time I was learning about love languages, from that period, I haven't been in a relationship. So I haven't applied it in any relationship. And I also think I haven't been in a relationship where somebody understood my love language. I don't think so. So, yeah, that is my situation. Why, Alex, mbona unacheka?
Do mi nashangaa tu madem warembo hivi alafu relationship. Ama wezi pata kila kitu.
Maybe that's the thing. Maybe uko it wasn't for me. But now, when we talk about love languages and communication, like apart from knowing other people's love language, I think you have first to start with yourself to know your love language. So do you guys know your love language?
Yeah, I do.
What's yours?
So I can't really pick one between words of affirmation and
They can be
touch.
two.
And touch.
Or words of affirmation and touch.
Yeah.
Mhm. You?
Quality time, physical touch. Yeah.
Me, I am a words of affirmation and physical touch.
Yeah,
Number 3 is gifts.
Yeah, physical touch.
Number 3 for me is I said number 3 is number 3
Acts of service.
acts of service.
Ah,
Yes.
Alex, unajuaje love languages that Derek?
No,
You
we
guys.
are friends. We are friends. No, we are friends.
Okay.
I think the better part of my life with my friends, I discuss more about what affects me.
Okay.
Yeah, and what affects them.
Okay.
Yeah, so
Men
I
talk,
think
men talk.
it's not just men talk, it's mental talk. Because mental conversations is about self-understanding. So yeah, that's why maybe he knows. Yeah, so I think even before we get deeper, we should tell people that this idea of 5 languages was brought about by this guy called Dr. Chapman. He believes that there are 5 primary love languages, which some of us have mentioned. There are 5. Number 1 is without any order. There is words of affirmation, there is quality time, there is physical touch, there is acts of service, and also receiving gifts. So Lillian, maybe we can discuss in detail. What does it mean? Somebody is listening and is like, okay, what is words of affirmation? Is it just, how does it look like? And then, of course, we have to discuss how do you also realize or make plan to understand other people's love language. Yeah.
Okay. To explain, let's start with words of affirmation. Words of affirmation are people who like Nazisema ni watu wanapendanga text ndefu.
This is for poetic people.
Yes.
People who love poetry.
And people who appreciate more when you fully express how you feel about them. Si mtu mwenye anaweza penda you tell them something vaguely. They would want a proper explanation. They would want you to tell them exactly how you feel about them. And now on the flip side, words are also very sensitive to them. So if you insult them, for example, it is an easy way to break them. So they like to be told kind words. They like to be encouraged. They like to be told they are loved. They like all those things.
These are people who love listening to us like Nyako, Chunwecho, Jaber. Out of 7 billion people, I saw you. You are my angel. If you are part of a computer, you will be a keyboard because you are my type.
Yeah, and then also people like that, they're really appreciative of, say, compliments that are thought out. Let's say, for example, if I know Alex is good at something, it would really mean something if he's a words of affirmation guy to compliment that in a way that is thoughtful, like to sit down and look like I've thought about it and I understand what I'm saying. Those things go a long way with people who are words of affirmation kind of people. Mm-hmm. Yes. So words. Beautiful words, and words. Don't insult them,
Don't
please.
insult them.
Yes.
There is something I was speaking. Maybe somebody will help me understand. Especially with the words of affirmation, there is this kind of a lady, one of the things I dated. She enjoys, of course, words of affirmation, but anything that is a joke that touches them is never a joke. That sounds like an insult.
Yes.
So this
you have to be very careful with
words. I think you have said you have to be very sensitive with the kind of words you use.
Yes.
So when you make a joke, you can make a joke about Alex if the person is Lillian. But the moment the joke becomes Lillian, who appreciates words of affirmation, then it doesn't...
it's not a joke.
It's longer a joke.
Yeah.
That is an attack on who they are and their identity.
Yeah.
So I think that is something people need to take caution on.
Yeah.
And, if you love poetry, if you love quotes, this is where you fall.
Lyrics.
If you love
lyrics, yeah.
Yeah, people who, some of us, Miss Yezi Shika Wimbo Diamond from the beginning to the end. But the people, if you can explain, if you can master word by word and everything, describe how they look from the head to toe.
And also I think our love languages affect exactly who we want, maybe who we desire. So you find most of the shories or dudes who prefer, or rather, they are words of affirmation type of person. They tend to like maybe musicians, poets, spoken word artists.
Or just creatives.
Creatives in general.
I agree. It is easier for them to fall with this kind of people. However, there's also room for them to fall with people who are extremely different, but only if these other, their significant others want to acknowledge their love language and they're willing to ensure they fulfill their love language.
Yes, that's the catch.
Yeah.
I totally agree.
Yeah, so that is all about words of affirmation. So, really
Kina
good.
Sisi, Mimi na Alex.
No, not Mimi. I think
we're all here.
Yeah, it's also, all of us want to, we want to.
Hey, you said, I remember, you said physical touch and quality time.
No, the first one was quality time.
Oh.
Number 2 was physical touch, and then the third one was acts of service. Oh, sorry. Quality time is not my thing. No, it doesn't. No, I love, of course, through the 3 matters most. Me, I think I love it when we are having real-time conversation.
So quality time.
Yeah, quality time.
So tell us, what does it mean now that you're a quality time person? Like, what exactly does it mean? What do you guys have? Nikuje hapa, nifinye simu, like what do you want?
Quality time simply means undivided attention. When we are here, it is about me and you. There is no other distraction. There is no laptop. There is no phone that is distracting our conversation. It's either I am talking and then you're, giving your best to ensure you're listening. And this is, some people confuse quality time with advice giving. I start opening up and then you just jump, you want to advise me on how I should do 1, 2, 3 things. That it doesn't work that way. Quality time is simply giving me your undivided attention.
Can I
Listening.
say something that I've realized about advice giving or just dealing with situation? Most of the time when you're going through something and you tell somebody that cares about you, I realize sometimes maybe that's not the best move, because if I'm going through something and he cares about me, this thing affects him.
Yes.
So his response first is not even to help me, is to make whatever he's feeling go away, because he's also not feeling okay. This thing is affecting him. So his immediate response is to make this bad feeling go away for him as well. And that sometimes, that's why you see people are quick to tell you, do this. And it's not coming from a very informed point of view. It's coming from a point where they want the problem to go away so that they can also be relieved of the unpleasant feelings that they might be going through because of your situation.
What they do is to bandage a wound that requires surgery, apparently. And I think in psychology, if I've learned something, 1 or 2, 3 things, is you cannot be cancelled with a person who you share a mutual relationship with, be it your friend, be it your workmate, somebody that you have an interest to protect, a family member. Then the wrong people, because at the end of the day, they have something to protect. For example, if you're going through a difficult situation and Alex is part of that difficult situation, the first thing I'll do as your brother, assume I'm your brother, is to protect my family. So anything I'll say, even if you are the one who was on the wrong, my quickest response will be to protect you and to start attacking Alex, And of course, even in counseling, it should not be more about me giving you advice. It should be more about me paying attention.
Actually, counseling is never about giving advice.
Yeah, it is
Counselors
never about
don't
giving. They
give
don't.
advice.
They only help the client to find solutions within themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, so quality time is purely undivided attention. And I think I have had people who will call me and they'll be like, thank you so much for your time. Like, they will come, they will have a conversation with you. You don't give them any kind of response. They're done talking and then they leave. And later on, they'll feel like you are one important person to their lives.
And a quick question. So when it comes to quality time and you stated it as undivided attention to your partner, so yeah, no phones, no laptops, no anything. So when you come together to watch a movie or maybe play a game, will that be considered as quality time?
Yes.
There is, in that act, okay, let me rephrase. Maybe I used gadgets I rephrased it completely wrong. Watching movie, there is undivided attention. The two of us are concentrated on that thing that we are watching together. So it's part of quality time. Whatever you guys are doing is part of the two of you,
Yes.
So that is how we call it quality time.
So watching a movie or even doing an outdoor activity, if you decide to go paintballing or whatever, that is still quality time, as long as you're spending time together.
Yeah.
Yes, with undivided attention.
Okay, so I think we have touched a bit of quality time. Lillian, I don't know what's next.
We have physical touch, and guys, for physical touch, basically the PDA kind
What is
of
PDA?
public display
displayed
of affection.
Affection. Oh, sorry,
Yes.
my bad.
They are the ones who will hold your hand or will want to be held and will be all over. Like physically being touched means a lot to them. So I don't know how further to explain this.
I think the issue with what people confuse physical touch, they think it's only about sex or
That is the
maybe
worst
banging.
notion about
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, so cuddling, maybe holding hands, you see hugging, yeah, all those, as long as you're touching them
Yeah.
appropriately.
Those who love laying their head on our chest.
Yeah,
You know?
playing with
Yes,
the
and also Alex has mentioned something appropriately, because you see these things have a flip side.
Yeah.
If my physical touch is my wherever is physical touch, my love language is physical touch, and I do not like Alex. If Alex touches me, it is just unimaginable. Like he shouldn't. Like it will affect me. I will feel violated. You understand?
So this is not something that is inviting anybody.
No,
to do
it
it.
is only okay for people that they love and people that they would want to receive this kind of touch from. not just anyone. So if you're not in that bracket and you touch them, you will rub them the wrong way. Yes. So it's important to know that. There's also something else I wanted to say that I've forgotten.
It's important to touch those who you love and those who love you back.
And also another thing is, it's also an issue. You see, Alex has mentioned something like hugging. Or just sometimes, Mimi, I'm a physical touch person, but I just overlook hugging people. But if somebody is of his physical touch, some of these things mean something to them. So ukikuja na ujawa hug, they're like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah,
You understand?
yes.
So those kind of people, I think they're the ones who suffered most during the
Yeah,
pandemic.
I think to pick up from where you have just left, you might be fulfilling your partner's love language wrongly. By wrongly, I mean you're not fulfilling the right love language.
Yeah.
For example, you're a man, so you think you're providing for this lady, you're taking her out for movies, but she's more interested with physical touch. You wonder why this lady keeps on saying, you don't love me, you don't care about me, all you care is about your things. And you think, women, or you think a particular person doesn't value or appreciate your effort. It is
Yeah.
never about them appreciating your effort. It's just that you have not taken your time to know what their love language is.
Yes, and also somebody loving you and you feeling loved are not exactly the same. Somebody can say the way they love you, but you don't feel loved because they're not loving you correctly. So whatever you're saying is very true, because we have a lot of people who say they love you or they love people, but these other people are like, where is the love? I can't see it, I can't feel it. And it's because of this kind of situations. Things have not been communicated, or people have not taken the time to understand exactly how their partners will like to be loved. Yes.
Absolutely correct. So please try, as you listen to this podcast, try to understand your partner's love language. I think we have mentioned it earlier on. Our love languages vary. Don't assume you're going to meet a partner whose love language is equal to yours.
Yeah.
In most occasions,
Or just because I'm a woman, I like gifts.
Yeah, there is that notion. Is it true by the way that women love gifts? Okay.
Yeah, women love gifts, but it doesn't mean that every woman top whatever is gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like gifts are nice, but there are people who also have other love languages. They could prefer words of affirmation or quality time or acts of service or things like that. So it doesn't mean, a lot of women like gifts, but it doesn't mean that is the primary love language for all women.
I think we can see that around maybe once or twice or thrice you've seen a couple, maybe a dude who cannot maybe afford to give the lady something and they're staying and they're happy. Doesn't mean that every woman loves gifts. They don't. Actually, I think they're pretty complex and sometimes it's really hard to understand women, but that one I'm sure of.
Oh my gosh, you did not say that on our podcast.
I don't want to.
It's pretty hard to
echo.
understand. Women are complicated. Anyway, human beings in general are complicated.
Yes. Talking of giftings or receiving, in fact, this type of love is giving and receiving.
Yeah.
Yes, giving and receiving gifts.
I know people who are professional
Receivers.
receivers. Life has to be around them.
No, let me ask you, David. If my love language is receiving gifts and yours is acts of service, so why am I giving you gifts?
We have not yet discussed acts of service.
Like, okay, let's pick another one. Yours is physical touch.
Yeah.
See, me, I'll just touch you and then you give me gifts. Or?
That is what we discussed. That is manipulation. That is manipulation in its purest form. Because
How is that
you
manipulation?
have mastered what works for me.
Because for me, I think there's a difference of receiving and giving love. So maybe if they feel they're loved when they receive gifts, give them the gifts. But I think it's also common sense that you're supposed to also give gifts if you receive.
Yeah, I think...
Because,
yeah.
the trouble with receiving is it puts you at a very ugly position or state. And this is where you find most of our young people, I don't want to say ladies, also men suffer it as well. Because you are used to receiving gifts from a particular person. When they ask you for something that you're not comfortable doing, because you feel like they owe you, or you need to repay back, But deep down in your heart, you know, this is not something I will do in my normal situation. But because you've been receiving, you end up giving up and giving into what they want. You know, for example, somebody wants to have sex with you and you've been receiving cash, you know, they've been paying your house rent, they've been, you know, buying house items. I'm not saying Alex Tuzakuli Nuliwa, but I'm just, you know,
Wow.
all that stuff, you know. So you'll feel guilty. So this person, in a way, has bought your mind to the point that you can do easily anything so that you please them. So I think my issue now is when it comes to giftings, also have the art or the urge to also learn to give it out so that you don't feel indebted or you don't feel like you need to pay somebody anything at the end of the day.
I think maybe the issue is the person who is giving. Why are they giving? Do they give because they want to? Or are they giving because they
want
expect something else?
Of course, if somebody is giving you with an expectation, then that is a wrong way of doing things. At the end of the day, nobody should be expecting anything from you. We should give out of heart because we want to give, you know. But I'm also trying to preach that we also learn to give and receive, you know. And let us discuss a bit on receiving and giving, because I think this idea has been manipulated with other things. There is that notion that when you're giving, we highlighted it a bit kidogo tukianza, some people think buying particular items should be the particular gifts they want. Like, kama napenda iPhone, so, and you love gifts, I need to buy iPhone. Kama sija buy iPhone, I need to buy, you know, expensive stuff. According to me and according to what I've learned and I've read, giftings has nothing to do with expensive things. It is what you can afford. And I know the person receiving gifts should appreciate the effort and even the gifts they get from their significant others.
Derek, I want to say something on that. Giving gifts doesn't mean you just randomly give somebody anything. It could even be expensive or it could be cheap. But if this gift doesn't mean anything to them, it is not as pleasing. And that's why as we're giving gifts, you need to be thoughtful. Think about it. Don't just up and buy shoes, for example. You know.
So I was wrong.
No.
I
I just gave an example. I didn't mean
Why
the
did
shoes
you
were
give
bad.
an example of a
And she's
shoe?
angry.
So you need to think. You need to think about your gift and be thoughtful. And it just the way we mentioned about words of affirmation, you need to be thoughtful about complimenting them. Even these people for gifts, you need to be thoughtful. Give a thoughtful gift. You understand? If, for example, I see, for example, Alex is a creative, he likes writing, he likes whatever. Getting him a journal would mean something to them. You understand? So it's that kind of a situation. Si tu nikuje nimbaye kitu yoyote. You need to think about what they like and what this gift would mean to them. And then you gift them.
Yeah, I guess the biggest thing is the thought behind the gift you're giving. So maybe you give someone a pen before an exam. You see the person doesn't have maybe a mosquito net and they're struggling, you give them a mosquito net. Just think about everything. Maybe a gift can also be a card. Maybe written "you're pretty." It's still a gift. So just
It's a gift
And words of affirmation.
so think twice and be smart.
I agree, though I'm not 100%, agreeing with everything. Sometimes we can also give things that matter most to us. There have been moments I've received things that personally they are not really, really special to my end, but it was special to their end. But I think the fact that somebody went out of their way to buy those gifts, for me, is special. And I always feel like I need to treasure such kind of gifts. But I agree to the point that you've said, sometimes even when we go out of our way to look for gifts that we want to give the people we love, it is also important to to do a background research, to know things that they love and what it means to them. But it doesn't have to be tied to an expensive item.
Not the cost. The cost
It shouldn't be the cost. Yeah.
So maybe in your scenario, it would have been maybe the other or the partner. Maybe they love chocolates. Some people are like that. Then they give you chocolate so that maybe the next time you might, because they're not actually trying to say they love chocolate, but because this is what I love and I've associated this product with happiness, I will give it to you. And then maybe you will see, maybe this person loves product A, so you'll be giving them that product.
And I think this is where, I know we'll talk about we'll mention something about communication later, but I think this is where communication comes in, because you'll see we are just out here assuming and working with assumptions and what we feel and what we have seen. But the truth is, even for these love languages, we project a lot. I assume because I'm a words of affirmation, my partner is, I love them the way I would like to be loved. But you see, that is not right.
Yeah.
I need to love them the way they should be loved, not the way I would like to be loved. And that's why, apart from knowing these love languages, it's important that we communicate how exactly we would like to be loved. Because if not, I would be like Puku, just texting and touching this person, and maybe they're they fear PDA, they don't like those things. So you see, it
becomes an issue. Yeah.
We are all well-meaning, but we are stuck.
Yeah, because
we can't.
there is no
we are not
communication.
communicating.
Yeah, I agree. I think I've seen scenarios whereby a guy is having an issue with the chile because the lady doesn't feel comfortable being hugged, especially, all those sorts of public display affection.
Yeah,
that is the correct word. Yeah, so they don't feel comfortable doing that. So the guy will be like, I think this lady doesn't
love me.
Because why? If she's really my girlfriend, if she really loves me, she will willingly, do all these things. And sometimes these thoughts are guided by our past relationships with other people, because Njeri, Akinyi, Diana was doing 1, 2, 3 things with you, and they were happy, they were comfortable, and they enjoyed everything about it. You now assume every other woman who should come into your life has to do it. It's a way of women doing things that way, or it's a way of men doing things that way, and that isn't the case. So yeah, it's important to learn how to communicate and to know how we do things the right way.
True.
Yeah, Lillian.
What have we not talked about?
We're not talked about acts of service.
Service.
I love acts of service.
You love acts
My
of service?
Lord. All the women I've dated attracted me because of what they were doing.
Okay.
I love acts of service. I mean, you do anything, be it, for me, acts of service, maybe I might be wrong. It doesn't have to be doing it for me. Acts of service could be you're doing it for other people.
Okay.
Because I've seen you. Let me finish.
Okay.
For example, like I've said, the women who have attracted me, or I've been attracted to, I've been attracted to, it was majorly because of the act of service. Like I was seeing them helping a person, I was seeing them, leading the way, doing 1, 2, 3 or 4 things. Why was I attracted? Because I was sure when I date them, I'm going to be treated that way.
But you're not those people they're serving.
Of course, I'm not those people that are serving. In everything we do, at times we risk. We gamble. If, of course, we happen to date and then things don't work out, we part ways.
Okay.
So I have always been, to date, I'm always attracted, be it leading to a serious relationship or friendship. Mostly it's purely acts of service. Somebody who's just concerned about other people, the things they do. I am so sure, at least when I'm part of them or they're part of my life, there are things I will not struggle with, and I enjoy it. This book is supposed to be here, not there. I'm supposed to help Derek do 1, 2, 3 things. Acts of service is different from people who want to make their girlfriends to, help them out, to be more of their, how could I, do wifely duties. There are people who, girlfriend akikuja, apike kwanza githeri, aoshe vyombo, and all those stuff. I believe it's totally different. Atoe curtains, apanguze ceiling, aoshe duvet. I mean, why on earth will you make somebody's daughter go through that? For me, acts of service could be maybe the lady just reminding me that I need to ensure that things have been taken to the laundry. If I do laundry, I'm still washing my stuff. Simple things, for me that matters so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
For me, I think acts of service, because I feel like what you're saying, because you see people who do service for others are generally attractive people because of their character. So, I don't know. I would say maybe you're attracted to who they are as a person, as compared to the acts of service. But also, I could be wrong. But for me, acts of service is them doing acts of service for you. So it can be si lazima ikuwe kufua nguo, but also that is acts of service. Bora tu si slavery, you understand? Bora tu, it's not ati this guy expects kila siku nikikuja kwake nimfulie.
Yeah.
But if he's a guy that likes acts of service, he would really appreciate if you did something like that. Ama ukimsaidia na kazi.
Mimi kwanza
Hata kama ni kazi ya office, kama Alex hapa ni mtu wa kuedit, if you help him with that, it goes a lot. It means something. It means a lot to him.
Let me ask you something, Lillian. The modern day society is also telling people don't perform wifely duties as a girlfriend, and Derek is somebody who enjoys and loves acts of service. That is just me. If I can get a lady who will help me with washing clothes, honestly, whether she's going to be the one washing or taking them to the laundry, I'll be the happiest human being on earth. So how do we solve this issue? Is it that phrase doesn't make sense, or it is a matter of you and your partner deciding and agreeing on a few things and how things should run?
Okay. So, as much as acts of service is a love language, and it shouldn't be in any way be exploited. And that's why I would also say applying boundaries is fine. Is because you see, for all these love languages, your partner is not dictating to you, I want gifts. I want words of affirmation, I want whatever. It's your partner understanding that this is what works for you, and them in their own capacity, they decide how they're going to do it for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I know you are an acts of service kind of person, and I know maybe running an errand for you or washing for you would mean something to you, I make an effort to do that because I know what that means for you. You understand? So it's not about the other person who is giving love in form of service being exploited. It's not about that. It's about this person, them actually understanding that you like act of service, and they see how they can do that for you at their own terms, not you telling them.
At their own terms. It drives me to the next question, because even when I was reading the book by the guy who came with the idea of the 5 love languages, there were couples who had difficulties expressing or feeling loved by their significant others. This one was, attracted to acts of service. The other one was, words of affirmation, and, they are having struggle. Don't you think sometimes when it comes to love languages, as far as intimate relationship is concerned, sometimes we have to bend a bit so that we can, accommodate our others? Or it's just because when you say, of course we have to feel comfortable, but I'm thinking of the idea whereby all of us are different in terms of our love languages, and my love language is completely different from yours, but apparently because I love you, I have to feed in what makes you happy, and you have to do the same. Don't you think sometimes we have to, should I use the word compromise? Mm-hmm. Maybe okay. For lack of a better word, compromise.
Yeah, compromise is
so
okay.
as to, make that relationship be there for, a longer time, or, be more fun, more happy, more affectionate, and more loving.
That's true. Compromise is key for any relationship to be functional, because, as you've mentioned, we are not the same. We are very different. And for both of us to be, for example, in a comfortable and healthy, happy relationship, each one of us has to compromise. So compromising is fine, and it's actually necessary as long as this compromise is mutual. Understand? Like both parties are compromising to make each other happy or feel loved and things like that.
Interesting. Alex, I've not heard your voice when we're talking about acts of service. It's something
Atambui acts of
service.
For me, I feel acts of service, it's actually okay. I guess maybe when I go step by step, it's like I have all the love languages, but in different percentages. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because more words of affirmation, then physical touch, some quality time. Receiving gifts, maybe they don't really mean as in a big deal for me. And lastly, act of service. But when it comes to washing, doing dishes, and your clothes, man, it's a big deal.
Like
It's a big deal for
your act of service, let me ask, wewe unasema changamoto zako. We agree. Sometimes we might have our difficulties as human beings. For example, mtu anaweza kuwa na upungufu wa like they don't have things to put on, to wear, and apparently they want to tag gifts, receiving gifts as their as their love language, but we purely know that yours is purely an issue to do with money, that you need to solve with other means, So I don't know. Really, I don't know whether sometimes people mistake
I
love
get
language.
where your point is coming from, because if it's doing dishes, I can do them, but I can do my own laundry. I can maybe clean the house, but mtu mwingine akikufanyia, it's actually better, and you feel more, I think, more loved or something.
Naturally, I think human beings, we enjoy it when people help us out.
No,
Though when,
that's not the case. For me, I don't.
Depends. With if I tell you, me I'm not telling in one sijui wash dishes. So if you like, she will do it.
Yeah, of course.
And she will because she wants to, not because I told her to do 1, 2, 3. So it's purely from whatever
purely
she wants
from the
to
heart.
do.
Assume there are two human beings who apparently love you, and you to some extent love them. You have not really decided who you want to settle with. One, for some reason, both of them once in a while visit you, but one of them apparently helps you out with chores, ensuring your house, is clean and all that stuff. Do you think that will be a determinant to deciding who becomes your girlfriend?
Yeah. Because, when someone loves you, they care about everything. Wansemanga ukichukua mtu unachukua na mzigo wake, I think it's a Swahili.
Take the rose and the thorns.
Yeah. So when they care, they love you, and they care as in fully about you. They care about how you'll do your dishes. They care about how you go to work, how you look like, and maybe is your shirt ironed, you see. So, and the other person maybe is just there for, can we watch a movie? Then they go, they don't even move a plate. So they're bringing baggages to the relationship.
It is baggages in the event. I think if somebody asks me, can we watch a movie, and I really value, I value quality time, I'll be more glad to watch a movie than she deciding to wash dishes for me.
Yes.
And I'll be the happiest human being.
Yeah, I guess it's also because we are different. So
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's bottom line about, when you're talking about these love languages, love has to be involved. So you see, if you love someone, even before they come wash dishes or whatever, you already love them. You understand? So them being somebody that can help you out is just a plus. And you see, for example, if your love language, for example, is acts of service, then them doing all these things would mean something. But you see, again, there's a Derek situation where he wants quality time. Anataka tu mkuje Netflix and chill, which will mean something to him. So, yes.
So when you marry and now you have the quality time, what else?
What else? Of course, if you read from those who have gone before us, be it a true somebody and love, for me, doesn't sustain marriage. There are so many other factors that keep marriage going. So I don't think it is just chilling and watching Netflix that will sustain me in that marriage.
True.
Yeah. That was a smart one, though.
So let's talk about communication in this love language situation. At what point do people need to have this conversation? We've already established that it's important to have these conversations. So at what point, when you're dating, when you're about to date, when you're in a relationship, when you're about to be married, when should you have this conversation, and how should this be had?
Oh, so I'm going first. Me, I guess the conversation you need to have is now you with yourself. So first to understand what is your love language. So we have some tricks you can try. You can go to websites that offer you guys to fill questions, and they'll tell you have this percentage. But you can also check on how you are raised and try and see maybe some of the things that you lacked. I guess those also apply. Try and see how your guardians or your parent tried to express love to you. So some of the people, that is the way they grew up, and that is the love language that they portray. Yeah, so before you try and assess the other person, assess yourself, know your strengths, know your love language, know the pros and cons of your love language. Then from there, if you have a partner, I guess the earlier the better.
Let me mention something that Alex has mentioned. He has mentioned knowing about your love language, and one of the easiest way is doing a test. For me, I did a test. Doing a test, there are so many tests online that you can do, but also going back to your past and understanding what you lacked, because most of the people, their love language comes from what they lacked growing up. So that's what they would like to see now. And for some other people, it's what they knew, and that's still what they want now. And that brings us to another conversation about attachment styles, but that we will do. We'll have that conversation later. But it's important to understand those patterns, because there are very many underlying things that come from how you were being raised that will inform your love language or even your attachment style. So that is very important. I think those are the ways that you can know about your love language. But then after you've known, then when you meet somebody, do you just first date? What is your love language?
Date.
Like, when do you communicate? When should people have these conversations?
I guess it's
and how comfortable are people to have these conversations?
I think to answer Lillian's question on when to have this conversation with another person, you don't just bump to someone and you're like, what's your love language?
Yeah, what's your love language?
And they'll
First
be like,
date.
Like, what? Are you serious? So asking other questions, like maybe you can ask them, do you prefer to either hang out or go window shopping? And they'll be like, window shopping? Will you buy me something? So
oh, nice one.
yeah, so from there, like, this is someone who they prefer gifts. Yeah, so I think it's up to you to be smart. Ask not these open-ended questions like, do you want to go to the movies? No. Do you drink coffee? Yes.
That is closed.
Yeah, closed. Yeah, sorry, closed. Yeah. So do you go to the movies? So it's just like yes, no. Try and find out how they were raised. Try and find out maybe if they had maybe all the money in the world, what will they do? Where will they travel to? Try and maybe assess the person deeply. Ask questions that they were never asked before. I guess trying to understand the person will maybe give you some insights of their love language. But when you get to know the person, you'll be like, hey, there's this test, maybe you can try it out.
Like outside, because by the me I'm size because I just want direct communication. I don't because I realized as much as you would try to study patterns carefully, you still get it wrong. So sometimes it's just good that me like, okay, this is what I want, tell me now.
For me, I think not just relationship, even friendships I make with people, I ask questions prior to even forming these friendships.
You do? You interview people for
Not really interview.
Okay.
Not interview. We will meet for the first time, our date, and I'll share my story about how I was raised. There are things you will share, and then you will trigger the other person to share their experiences. I like to know, like, how is your relationship with your dad? How about your mom? How about your sis? What things do you love? Do you do with your sis, your mom?
How often do you talk?
How often do you talk? Or
my gosh, that sounds like an interrogation.
It's not really. It is not.
No, I understand what you mean. But for some people, somebody who's listening, be like, I don't want to meet Derek. I don't want to be friends with them. Because you see, again, you mentioned this is something you can do on first date. And for me, that is dangerous because if I have uko wounds with my mother and you're asking me on the first date what is my relationship with my mother, I'm like,
No,
I-
what I understand
The
is
phrasing is what
I have
matters.
had conversations with people and I'll ask them about something and then they will not respond. I will understand. Sometimes it doesn't mean I will get all the responses in one day. That's a big lie. Some of these feedbacks we get them over time. It can be more than 3 weeks, it can be more than a month. You have to allow people to speak when they're ready to speak. You cannot force words out of people's mouth. It takes time. Even me, by the time I'll be asking you about your mom or your dad, I might be having conflicting issues with my parents. So I will ask even more personal questions about themselves, what they love, what fun means to them. Is it gaming? Music and all this stuff, and why do you like music? Me, like I said personally, I don't really enjoy music, and more open-ended questions. I'm not a big fan of music. Apparently, I struggle a lot. I'd say that openly. I struggle a lot to follow up with music and the trends. Sometimes the kind of songs I can recall ni zile za 202, 204. Like I can tell you for free, modern day artists. Who doesn't know above the head? At least that's what I know. Below the belly. But again, which belly? We want to know which belly. Some people have 16 bellies.
You just take the 16 bellies, put them together below that belly.
Below that. Okay, thank you so much. So, like literally, struggle. Modern day artists, I can tell you half of them or more than half, I don't even know their names. I can't even tell. Sometimes I listen to a song, I'd be like, I'll say it's a particular artist because I know that, but artists alone. So, yeah, I try to ask more open-ended questions. For me, I am doing that deliberately because I want to see if our relationship is going to be healthy.
Okay.
Yeah, that is, I do it so that I don't want to form friendship and relationship with people for the fun of it because they look, wow, for me it's beyond looks.
Okay.
It's beyond what I see.
Derek,
It's beyond what I
beyond what you see.
beyond the face.
Beyond the face. So above the head,
Beyond
beyond
the
the
figure.
face. Okay. So I want to ask you a question. Both of you, in your explanations, you have sounded like people who are conversationalists, and not everyone is somebody who likes conversation.
Sure.
So for these people who really don't enjoy this kind of deep conversation, then how then do they bring this up? How then do they get this information from their partners? Or how then do they give this information to their partners?
I guess, okay, I'll go first. There's this time I was in an interview and they asked me, so what if your manager is doing something you don't really like and you have a better way of doing that thing? What will you do? Then I was like, oh, this is a tough one. Yeah, I didn't really have the answer then, but what I said maybe just worked, and from that time henceforth, from that time to now, it is still working. So I think you give a compliment first, ask a question, then give a compliment. It works. So for example, let me just get something easy.
But I think
Maybe
I know, I understand what you mean, because I feel like, especially in situations where you don't know how things will go with this other person. Maybe you don't know each other like that. Compliments is an easy way to ice break or something like that. So that unajua Derek mimi naweza tu mwambia I'm not worried about I'm not worried about those things. But you see, for your situation, your manager is somebody that you just don't go to with anything. So I get, but just explain to our listeners.
So for example, maybe in this setup, maybe I love your ring, so it looks nice, it fits nice. Where did you get it from? You're supposed to answer.
Oh, I got it from Masai Market.
Oh, so you usually go to Masai Market?
I do, occasionally.
Interesting. You went there this week?
No.
Can we go maybe this Saturday?
Sure.
Tu anasema kila kitu rahisi. Kata hata.
Like,
Yeah,
if you're
so-
going to buy me rings, why should I not say no? Should I
So-
not say yes?
So I guess maybe from people who don't really speak a lot, you can try and throw questions
Like,
here and there.
give them leading
Yeah.
questions.
Maybe unaweza ambia mtu unakaa fiti, wewe unafanana nani kwenyu. So from that point of angle, you've asked the person, who do they look like?
You've asked
That-
them about
yeah,
their
about
family.
their family.
Yes.
So they will try and open up. Me, it's more of mom, and they will say something about the mother or the sister or the brother.
Then you can follow up.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you just try and be smart. I think each question can be phrased differently, and you can get different answers based on how you phrase the question.
Sure.
I completely agree. I think the other way I've learned in making people, open up is sharing my story. When you can share a story, and especially stories that can closely relate to their experiences, they can feel safe with you, and they get an opportunity, to learn to speak. As Lilian has said, we are all different. There are people who can take forever to open up because of different experiences they've had, trust issues. We come from different backgrounds. So I think even these kind of people, you need to be really patient. Sometimes there are people, it will take a shorter time to, make them speak up. There are those who will take ages. And if you really are honest about them and you really care about them, you will be patient enough to allow them to take their time to speak up, regardless of what they're going through. So I think I think the other thing I've learned, and I think it has helped me a lot, is being sensitive to how people react to things. The way I behave, the way I speak, how my comments sound to them. If you're really cautious, you can always see through their facial expression and you can tell they didn't feel comfortable, or even the timing they're taking to respond back can tell a lot. Sometimes you'll be like, forget about it. Why don't we have fun? Or why don't we go and have a lunch? Or sometimes allow them to process that, and in their opportune time they will feel comfortable. Sometimes these people you want to talk, they will speak without even you asking them to speak. They'll be like, I want us to discuss about 1, 2, 3 things, and that is how life is. I think I've learned to accommodate different people and how they are and how they, respond to different things altogether.
Yep. Yeah, okay, for me, I guess I don't really open up to people when we meet the first time. I talk a lot, but I'm really cautious with the information that I give people, because I'm like, information is power, and I'm giving this person a lot of power to either do whatever they will do, because how I was raised up was for example, sisi ndo wale walikuwa wanaambiwa usiende kwa jirani, like don't go to the neighbor and stuff, just make sure you're here by this time. So we were really cautious with any interaction with the kids, with the neighbors, with our relatives. So when it comes to meeting new people, okay, I can make people talk and they can tell me their stories and everything, but when it comes to me opening up, it will take time. Yeah, like for a long time, maybe 2 months, 3, 4, until I completely trust the other person. I cannot pour out information to them.
And does that have an effect on your relationships? Because if this relationship is one person who is opening up and the other one is not, then it affects the bonding.
Yeah, to some extent.
Yeah.
But I guess we have where we compensate for
Not opening up.
Yeah, for not opening up. Maybe sometimes they ask questions, and so I will not advise people to lie, but you either give a vague answer or you ask another question. Maybe just brush off, change the topic. Like, it's not like, so tell me about your dad. Then you're like, I'm not telling you about my dad. It's like, oh, so how was your day? Can we talk about your day first? Then, yeah, maybe that question
But
will
I don't
disappear.
think... No, don't make the questions disappear. Because I understand where you're coming from and I have the same problem. So me, when somebody asks me, tell me about, say, your ex, am I your dad? If I don't feel like talking, I just tell them I'm not comfortable to talk about it right now. But when I am, I will let you know.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a more honest way to proceed, so that this person can understand, because if you completely brush off, they will know you're brushing off, and watajijazia, because you see you haven't communicated. They will think whatever it is that comes to mind. Maybe you're not as invested, maybe maybe you just have your own struggles. So it's important for you to just say, I'm not okay talking about it now, I'd rather talk about it this time, or something like that. I feel like that's more fair to the other person.
Yeah, that's fair, but it also depends with the person.
Yeah.
You tell the person, we will talk about it later. Now that later will be after 2 minutes, after 2 minutes, after 2
No,
minutes.
see, the first statement I said is, I will talk about it when I am ready to.
ready.
And a person should understand that when you're ready doesn't mean 2 minutes. Ready could be 1 week, ready could be 2 months, ready could be 1 year.
10 years.
When you're ready.
Yeah, when you're ready, you should never at any given point pressure anyone to open up. And then, before I forget, people initiate speaking differently. I've met people who maybe you asked them questions some time back about their families, and then they didn't respond. And then they will later on come and be like, I'd like to ask you something. What do you think about people who are not raised by their moms or their dads?
Yeah.
That is a way they're trying to initiate
To start that
you know,
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It happens that way. The other way could be, what do you think if your wife can't give birth? Somebody's trying to maybe tell you indirectly, she has, done a few kinds of body analysis and gone to gynecologist or sort of, and things have been complicated. They're trying to see, what
would you think about them first? Before they open
so
up.
People open up differently. And these are, I think, moments whenever your partner or your colleague or somebody you're close to starts this kind of conversation. For me, I feel like this is the moment they want to have intimate conversation. They want to allow you to be part of their lives, and they want to see if your response will be in line with what they expect. Then they can invite more and more conversation by them sharing more about themselves, and maybe with time you guys can become a thing.
Okay.
But
Go ahead.
okay, I guess that question or that phrase where, what do you think about people who maybe, I guess ladies go too way far with that question. And they'll be
It's like a setup.
yeah, like, what would you have done if I was a pen? And like, but the answer is always, I will love you the way you are.
That is always the answer. But when the lady's like, what if I'm pregnant? What will you do?
What if?
What if you pregnant me and you didn't, we didn't plan for that kid? What will happen?
We will love the kid the way he is or she is.
Is that a genuine response, or it is because you want to get something?
No, it depends with, okay, I guess how I'm processing everything is because first, the person you're getting into a relationship with, do you love the person? Do you like them? So me, I'm from an angle where you like the person and they're interesting. You want to spend the rest of your life with them.
Because
case,
such kind of questions comes trying to understand if you're giving them an assurity, like you are there throughout, regardless of the storms and what happens, and that is life. Back to you, Lillian.
I feel like we've turned this episode into opening up, but I think now it's time for us to wrap up.
Yeah.
We are still talking about love languages and communication, and I think it's time for us to just give our parting shot in regards to this particular topic. And then we can wrap up.
Absolutely. I think I've learned a lot through this show. The love languages, for me, I think I feel more empowered. There are a number of things I've learned from you guys that I didn't know before, and I think that is the essence of this podcast. And I'm sure our listeners are going to learn a lot, and I believe next episode is going to talk about attachment styles. We have been postponing attachment styles for a while, but it will be important we have a conversation on attachment styles so as to guide our viewers on a number of things. But I'm glad I've learned a thing or two, and I hope you will keep listening. Thank you so much to those who are listening in.
Bwana Alex, unajua Alex is a famous one in this.
Yeah.
A lot of
Popularly known
examples a lot of examples have been given about Alex.
He cannot give an
Yeah,
account
so
of
guys-
the number of ladies he has dated.
So guys,
No
this is the
relations.
famous Alex. If you ever heard us say about Alex, this is the one. He's the one, and I'm sure you guys have enjoyed listening to him.
Yeah, so my parting shot is first of all, when it comes to love language, before we assess everything, assess yourself, try and understand yourself. Maybe some things you lacked when growing up, or how you received love from your parents, your guardians, or your siblings. And if that doesn't work, go to the website, try it's a test, right?
Yeah, they're just.
Yeah, try a test and find out what's your love language, and also find out the love languages of those people who are around you. It doesn't matter if they're your partner, your friend, your colleague. Just try and find out for a better relationship, for a better friendship, and yeah, I guess everything will be fine.
Everything will be fine.
Yeah, this is really nice, and I'll love to do it maybe again.
Of course, you're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. So for me, I'd like to say, in the spirit of self-awareness, understanding your love language is primary, not just to you, not just to other people, but even to you. Because see, I feel like people cannot really understand you if you don't understand yourself. So all the things Alex has talked about, your childhood, if you have any trauma work to do, or just understanding where you're coming from and why your love language is your love language, to make sure it's not coming from a toxic place, and if it is, dealing with it. So I would say that is important. And also, I think what has really come out of this episode is understanding that just because I feel love, for example, Alex, it doesn't mean that Alex feels loved by me. So we have to go the extra mile of understanding, of making Alex feel loved through understanding how exactly he would like to be loved. So I think that is what has really stood out for me. And I thank you guys so much for listening, and we will be back soon. Thank you so much. And also we'll see if we can link a test for people who want to take the test, to take the test. Thank you very much.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye bye.